All right. Welcome on back to some Modern Warfare 3. Oh man, I still got to go put all these in the playlist, but I do have a playlist going for the Modern Warfare 3. And I think at this point, all of the MW3 ones are going to be in the same playlist for now. I just got this game a couple months ago, so I really wanted one of the camos, and it was on heavy discount. I think it was like 30 bucks. And I might not be a rich person, but I do have my priorities, and I've already gotten easily $30 worth of enjoyment out of this game. Like, actually, it might have even been 37, but you know what? Still, 37, that's a fair price to pay, like, especially in today's economy for a game like this. So, and I also got the Black Ops 7. That was a Christmas present to myself. I don't apologize. Anywho, but for this one, yeah, now it's lunchtime. Happy Friday. I did the one before work today. I did a couple of support meetings. Well, actually, only one successful, had a no-show, and that's enough talking about work, because I really try not to divulge too much about work. Doesn't matter what job I do. I've worked at a lot of places where things are proprietary, and you could get in a lot of trouble for talking about that stuff. So, like the wind intricately how to maintain the machinery, which we're talking millions of dollars worth of machinery. Um, I was a process instructor, so I knew how to do the processes, not just how to do them, how to teach people how to do them. I was also a crane operator, so I was trusted to move transport, or on the transport team, moving parts. I mean, I only operated the smaller cranes. Like, I was moving parts about the size of a car, whereas some people were moving parts as big as a bus or two buses on end. Because you think about a wind turbine blade, those things are massive. And we would just, I mean, we would clear the factory floor. Like, if anyone was doing a transport, like, move, you know, people would get the hard hats on that were spotting or doing the things. Oh, man. And like the whole factory was aware. Like there were spotters like telling people like, hey, watch out. And everybody was trained to give a 45-degree angle cone of leeway. You know, you don't stand under a load that's lifted. And that means anything. Like even if just like the line is taut or like tight, that's considered lifted. If there's slack in the line and the part or the blade or whatever is on the ground, or like, and it's not even being pulled up at all, that's when it's fine. But other than that, dang it, there's two of them. He's running too fast. So anyways, but yeah, so what I'm doing right now, well, yeah, lunchtime, I'm gonna go eat something, but I wanted to do a bit of a planning session because what I'm focusing on now, aside from my work duties, I still got quite a few emails to sift through. I've got some help tickets to follow up on. But my job is really relaxed. Like, as long as the work gets done, they don't care when we do stuff. And technically, I can just play video games all day and just do my work at night. But I always keep track of what work I do during a day. And, like, I mean, I haven't gone through all my emails because that would take, like, 12 hours of just email checking. And I don't really want to do that today. So... and I shouldn't have to. Like, we got busy, I took care of all of the immediate ones, and I'll just do a little bit each day, so it's not like I'm working way too much in any given day. Because work-life balance is important, otherwise you burn out, your mental health goes, then your physical health goes, and life's too short for that. Nobody needs that, and none of your bosses actually want that. If they know you're burning out, then they'll be like, alright, you know, but, yeah. And actually, it was kind of, I mean, I really hope everything works out, because I didn't make a promise. I still was very sure to say if and this, and, you know, you got to use that kind of terminology when you're working on projects with other companies, which I'm not officially working with anybody, by the way. I should say that, like, loud and clear. I don't work for the government. I don't work for any other companies, just the one nonprofit that I work for. You can see that on LinkedIn. Please don't stalk me. I mean, if it's good intentions, cool, and you're curious, cool. If you're trying to stalk me, well, the feds are probably going to talk to you, so. And not my choice. They are probably paying loose attention, so. For good and bad. But I have a couple handlers. Like I have a couple of buddies that also are in the military, and like if there's ever a concern, I'm guessing they probably just ask my buddies, be like, hey, you know, is Alex doing okay? They'll be like, yeah, or they'll be like, no, and then there'll be more surveillance, and there's a whole gradient, or like a, what is it? Not, I guess spectrum might be the word, but there's a whole spectrum of like potential. The only spectrum I can really think are like the neurodivergent spectrums, and like the visible spectrum, which goes Roy G. Biv. So the different values that exist in the spectrum are different intensities of different hues, saturation, stuff like that that can be measured and adjusted. But for this spectrum, it's a spectrum of force, a spectrum of problem solving. Now I say force because oftentimes you need force in a problem solving environment. You either need to put in the work and read or tinker or communicate with other people and try to figure out what needs to happen, or there's like a whole bunch of things. But either way, it requires the action of the technician. Like the technician or the analyst or the admin need to do some work. So, So anyways, I'm just laughing because it's so funny. Yeah. So anyways, back to the planning. So what I'm doing right now is I did a planning for communal that... I did some planning for communal, but it is all graffiti tagged out. It's not user-friendly, and that's by design, actually, because I didn't want any fake ones looking at my project and be like, you know what? Whatever. Like, and I don't want any fake ones thinking that they can take on the project. Like, it's got to be somebody with real integrity. I am Randy Marsh. I'm channeling Randy Marsh, but he's not dead. He's a fictional character. But anyways, oh come on! I reloaded and then I jammed it. I think that's a gun jam. Yeah. Oh, I guess it just keeps reloading even while you're aiming. So there is like a time delay, I noticed. Once you hit that... Changing mags! Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Check your damn fire! Hardpoint located. So anyways, what I gotta do now is I gotta clean it up, make it presentable, make it to where it's pleasant for people to look at, make it to where anybody coming out, because like my website's already had it for years now. I've been working on this project since, I don't even know. I've been actually working on the idea for this project my whole life. Like I've always been a bit of more of a hippie. I've been a cannabis enthusiast even back during the Prohibition days, and I didn't really care, and neither did law enforcement. I should clarify, as long as I didn't make it a problem, they looked the other way. But they could smell it. They're not dumb. I mean, they could tell, like if I didn't have Visine that day, they could tell he's either crying or he's smoking, like, you know, and he seems to be laughing a lot, so my guess is probably the other. But anyways, like, now if I was like out there tweaking or doing hard drugs or like doing crazy stuff, then yeah, they would be talking to me. And up in the mountains is a fishbowl, like everybody knows everything you're doing. Like there's almost no way to have privacy there. So it makes for some pretty interesting problem solving, because literally every single problem is under the microscope, and it's a town full of cops and corrections officers and military people. Often a mix of all three, actually. Like the police would often work at the prison if they needed some extra work, or they would, because it's only like, so I'm from Buena Vista. It's a town of like 2,000 people, maybe 3,000 now. I don't know. It doesn't grow much, but at least I don't think. I haven't been there in a while. Like really for a long time. I guess that's not true. I've been out there a couple times this last couple of years, but it's been a while. So anyways, but communal, so I have a graffiti tag for the icons and the graphics. I need to change that. I actually took a picture of some street art in Malaysia, because I was there for some work, and like, it was this really sick long tag that I saw. So I have that as the background of one of the documents, but basically, and actually I even started working on a clean version last year, but like many of my projects, I started it and then I stopped about a third of the way through, half of the way through. So that's my jam now. Tomorrow I'm actually going to be sitting there with one of my colleagues for 4 hours. I don't know who all's going to show. It's just a meeting at the mansion, and the mansion is like this virtual meeting space. And I'm doing it as a community manager. I love that. Like, they have that as an option. They didn't have my actual title as an option, but community manager makes sense. I manage communities, and Communal is a community management company. Basically just organizing a bunch of gangbangers and stuff, and people coming from prison that don't want to see people go back to prison. That's the gist of it. But so naturally, there's going to be a bit of rough edges, you know, like it's people coming from prison, like, or people coming from broken homes, or, you know, extreme problems that require extreme solutions. Or, well, not even extreme solutions. Sorry, that sounds weird. They're still pretty down to earth, but it's basically like making sure that people have support networks to stay clean if they're struggling with substance use or abuse. And if they want to, I mean, people should be free to use substances if they want and if they can handle it. It's when they can't handle it and it becomes a problem that law enforcement has to step in. Because really, it's like an unspoken rule here. It's like, if you're just cool and show people the respect and don't freak out, like women and children especially, but really don't freak out anybody. I mean, you got to be cool, be peaceful, be benign is like the key word. And as long as you're benign, they'll leave you alone. But if you're a malignant, you know, acting up, like acting no good, they're going to talk to you. Well, before the police talk to you, people like me are going to talk to you. And they'll try to be nice and start small. Like, you got to, oh, ich bin ein Berliner. I was just in Bremerhaven not too long ago too. I love Germany. Although honestly, every country I've been to, I still love Colorado the best because it's my home. It has a bunch of mountains, it has fresh air, it has cities if you want them, it has towns if you don't want cities. And it's pretty nice. And we have legal weed. So we've had legal weed for over 10 years now. And it has been magical, I will say. And that's why my Twitch stream has the precursor that we talk about drugs in it. And we do, because really appropriate talk about substances. Because, I mean, again, or I think I said this last episode, I'm not out there trying to tell people to use substances. Quite the opposite. If you're having an issue with a substance, or if you're finding, oh no, I saw it on the radar, I was like, no, it's too late. Oh, touche.
Switching mags. Confirmed. Friendly UAV online.
Man, I don't think I hit more than 2 shots with that. But anyways, so Communal, that's the idea, is organizing a bunch of community leaders, usually people that have probably either spent time in prison or know somebody that's spent time in prison. Because those are the people that are actually going to be sincere enough about solving problems. Now, when I say solving problems, I don't mean killing people. That is the very last resort of any situation in humanity. Unfortunately, it's a solution that we use too heavily, in my opinion, in this country. And even not even talking about the death penalty, we send our military to go kill people all the time, and I don't like it. I don't. I have a lot of friends that are military. I have a lot of friends that live in other countries. I don't want any of them to get hurt or killed. Like, that, it bothers me. It bothers me more than you could know. Well, okay, actually, you know how much it bothers me just by hearing that. But not like I'm going to go out and break any rules or cause any more problems to solve that problem. It's a delicate situation of life and death, literally. I mean, unlike this is just a video game. We're just chilling, having fun. This is all simulated. I'm playing with people that are just out to relax. This is how some people relax, especially military and stuff. Like, this is comforting, you know. And I have PTSD, but from ways that I can't really divulge right now, or things and situations. But like, I do. I have stress. I have anxiety. I have PTSD. Not like fully, but like trauma. And so post-traumatic stress disorder can be, again, I feel like a spectrum. Like, if you just lock up because of some external stimuli, like if you hear a gunshot unexpectedly, or that's a big one for military, or like 4th of July is usually a little rougher if people aren't ready for it. But, you know, and just like animals too, if they don't know what's going on, it seems really scary. I mean, just bombs blowing up and stuff, like literally going off right above you. So, I mean, yeah, it's understandable that dogs and people with past trauma and experiences, but I feel like we all have trauma. Nobody likes just a loud noise, you know, unwelcome noise.
What's your mark came for me?
Taking effective fire. Confirmed.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you got to wonder like how many people are just actors and actresses, and like they're just playing a part in some grander scheme. It's interesting. I was reading something about, well, actually, no, let's not go down that rabbit hole. Just watch Team America, and you'll see. So, anywho, Communal though. So Communal has like 6 or 7 different components. Like the biggest, most important components are housing, substance relief, or something like that. Because again, like people should be able to use substances. It's when there's abuse, or it's not being used responsibly, that.
Mission failed.
And like a doctor prescribing you a medicine or a substance, that's responsible use. Like if the doctor told you to do this and the doctor gave you advice and all that, the problem with that is doctors have been prescribing OxyContin for a long time. And I know that was actually one of the most popular street drugs for a while, and thankfully I never touched it, but I saw plenty of people trying to get into that, and it's like, I knew a couple of dudes that were like, yeah, it's good money. And I was like, yeah, but at what cost, you know? Like, look at these people coming to you, you know? Do you really want to keep supporting that? And they said no. Now, whether they did or not, I don't know. But like, I mean, literally anything else, unless it's cut with something dangerous, is not as dangerous as the 2 taboos, the meth and the opiates. Those are never do's because they're just unpredictable. I mean, thankfully, natural psychedelics are able to sever the hold of addiction, but then people have qualms with like, they don't want to trip, and that's fine. Like that's their life choice. But if they're already hooked on something like opiates, and especially like I had a buddy who passed away from, he was huffing, like he was just huffing, but he was so addicted to opiates that he was trying to find a legal way to get that same dopamine rush and that same feeling. And he was taking other shortcuts to try to replace an addiction. So, what's this? Sorry, I love all this. Oh. Oh. Huh. Okay. Oh, South Park. I love it. I love South Park. I'm one of the Founders Club members, even though I haven't really done much except for buy their shows and buy their merch. I bought a South Park shirt in Jamaica and Bahamas, even though I know they didn't get any money from it, and I feel a little bad about that, but at the same time, it was advertising, and so I wore a shirt that had South Park and Jamaica on it, and then another one that said South Park and had Bahamas on it, and it had Kenny, like, dying, like, diagonal, and Kenny's eyes were all bloodshot in the Jamaica one. And like, oh, it's so funny. And I don't know whatever happened to those. I'd have to see if I can go get some more. I'm sure they're around, like people making knockoff shirts and whatnot. I'm sure Matt Stone and Trey Parker probably don't care in the long run, like because I'm pretty sure they're pretty neurodivergent in one way or another. Like they seem like my tribe, but anyways, even if not, they're weird and they're stoners, and that's also my tribe. So like I feel like those are all very similar. There's a lot of overlap in those, but basically, oh jeez, see that's weird, but in a good way. I don't know. Oh. Anyways, sorry, what I'm talking about is I was joking about the Critter Christmas for the season finale for this one, and I just saw, like, so either I predicted it correctly that, you know, an episode of Satan would involve Critter Christmas, and the story behind the Critter Christmas is Satan impregnated a squirrel, and that squirrel was going to give birth to the Antichrist, but the children were tricked into helping the squirrel and the woodland critters, because they were just like, you know, funny, cute little critters, like being all playful and cute, and there was a squirrel that was pregnant with like the savior, or their savior, and then like at one point the bear's like, why would God impregnate a squirrel? Like, and it's just so messed up. It's like bestiality, Satanism stuff, and like just the most ridiculous things that you could probably put in a cartoon. And there it is, South Park just being wacky. Good old South Park. I still haven't seen any of this season, like not the full, oh god, not the full episodes. I've seen plenty of clips, and I even hashtag eat a bag of Richards. Unfortunately to Christy, I think it was Christy Noman. I'm going to have to apologize for that one too, I'm sure. But if it ever comes up, sorry. I don't know if I'm ever going to talk to her, and I hope she doesn't hate me because of that. But, well, and especially, you can't say stuff like that to women. It's one of those things, it's like, it's like you can't say a racist joke to a person of that thing unless you're cool with that. Unless they're cool with that. Now, South Park just says stuff just to say stuff, and they don't really care. Or maybe they did reach out and ask, like, hey, is this okay? Let's talk about that, though. So even President Trump, and yes, I do say President Trump, even though I disagree with a lot of his stuff, I don't disagree with some of his more important points. The American Academy, let's talk about that real quick. So the American Academy is a school for free college degrees. Yeah, that's right, free. For Americans. Now you have to be an American, and that's part of why he was kicking everybody out. It was like, well, he was planning on some pretty big things for Americans. And just like Biden was too. Biden was trying to forgive student loan stuff. But that's kind of bad because then you're ripping off the people that invested in that. Like if there's people like relying on that money and the investments, then that's not cool to just forgive it because then the money goes away. But then at the same time, the president, oh God, I saw that. The president also just pardoned somebody that owed $1 billion to the country. He was supposed to pay restitution in an amount of like 1.3 billion, I think, or something. Either way, Al Jazeera reported on it, and I kind of keep a loose attention to them. Just because I like to see other news sources outside of our country, because we're going to say good things about us and we're going to try to downplay bad things. So it's best to get other people's perspectives on our country. Again, South Park for the win. Like South Park had an episode in Afghanistan with one of the kids talking to the South Park kids. And he was like, 2/3 of the world hates you. And you know why? Because you don't even realize that 2/3 of the world hates you. And it is. We're the New England. Like we literally have the New England Patriots. Like literally. So, like everything that England did, we kind of followed suit and we started colonizing and like not really colonizing, like not at the same scale, but invading, blowing things up, dropping expensive bombs that probably cost more than that entire village that blew up, like ridiculous stuff. So, and because of money and capitalism and business and inertia and things need to keep moving forward and marching to the beat of a drum, and nobody really stopped to realize like, hey, this sucks, let's stop doing it. And it's like, okay. And I think it's just so many people have gone so long with like the status quo and inertia that it's like we all got to just fess up and be like, you know what? This is bad. Let's just agree, no more bombs. And I actually said that to a Jewish guy that I think represents Israel. He was speaking out in defense of, oh God, here's some munitions. But anyways, and I said something, and it all sounds crazy, but you know what? People around the world are listening to it. So if I have to seem like a crazy person for a little bit and if that means that one less bomb is dropped, I'd call it a win. My pride can take the hit, trust me. I'll be the first to make fun of myself. Yeah, I do lash out a little bit back, so I gotta be careful. And I have like some anger management stuff that I've worked on. Not like really bad, like in fact, it was actually very timid. Like I got punched in the head and choked and like all this and and I still restrained myself when I was fighting him. Very well disciplined, I might say myself. Oh God, is that? I don't know which direction that's coming, so I figured there's someone over here. But anyways, back to South Park. So President Trump, yes, I disagree with a lot of his stuff, but he makes some good points, and that drives some of my people wild. They hate that I don't hate Trump. I mean, I don't. The jury's out. It's mixed feeling. I mean, I'm mad about some of the stuff he did back in the day. But hey, the past is the past, and I'm focused on what he's doing moving forward. Now, if Elon's been talking about just getting rid of money altogether. Now think about that. If there's robots and AI doing all the meaningless jobs, or like the boring, like standard jobs, and like people just have a bunch of free time, that's what humanity's been trying to build robots for. We're trying to get to the Jetsons, but old George or Jeff Jetson, is George Jetson? Anyway, the dad still has to go to work and building those cogs, and he's one cog in a machine building more cogs. Uh-oh. Sorry, I was also watching a Twitch stream. Yeah. Oh, what happened? Hold on, I gotta check this out. Okay, cool. So I think what happened was I think the stream ended and stuff, and like I just kind of like I'm loosely watching that, watching this, playing, talking. I'm a spaz. Okay, but I wanted to do this because I'm organizing the presentation on Saturday, and I'm not this bad when I'm talking to people about something. It's just when I'm spinning. That's how ADHD works. Like you talk to yourself, you discuss things. I'm actually following quite a few people now that are like doctors and medical professionals, like explaining this stuff. But like a common thing that a lot of people with ADHD do is they will have discussions over and over and over in their head until it sounds good for their standard, and then they'll send the message. Now, I do this with everything. If I do an IT ticket, I'm reading that thing 10 times. And then if it doesn't sound right, I fix it. If it sounds right, I send it. If it doesn't, then I don't send it, because it only takes being burned once, maybe twice, before anybody's like, oh crud, I should probably do better the next time, or I want to make sure that I don't offend the next person. Like, I actually did that with one lady. I was trying to boast, like, oh, I've had several people get this. I'm sure you can get this. And it came off as, what? How come you can't do this, dummy? Like, what's wrong with you? And that's how it was perceived. And just like the wishes idea, you can't wish for somebody to change their mind or anything. You have to help them change it for themselves. You can't force them. And that's one of humanity's biggest drawbacks, is trying to force somebody to change their hearts and minds, which that's the whole, oh, I think I got stuck. Yeah, I was stuck. But basically, that's a whole concept behind hearts and minds. Like, I was watching this guy talk in the courtroom about how he didn't like trans rights because he felt that trans were piggybacking on gay rights, and it was a gay dude. And it was so strange, because I thought LGBTQ was so united, and then come to find out there's even a shift, or a schist, or there's a schism. There's a divide. There you go. There's a divide in the LGBT community a little bit. I mean, not a whole lot, I imagine now, but like initially it was just like, wait a minute, gay people and bisexual people. And let's actually just forget about bisexual people. Gay people are a different category because they literally love the same sex. Like, that's a different thing. Like, bisexual, you have fun with whoever. I mean, it really depends more on who you love. And so, like, but with gay people, they actually love the same sex. Like, that's their go-to. So, and that's what people have been trying to say this whole time. Now, to people that don't understand it, it could be weird. And then you got all the bisexual and just kind of like light gay stuff in between. That's not really gay. Like, I mean, it is, but like, it doesn't mean that that person is pigeonholed and labeled as a gay person their entire life. But it's really hard not to think that. Okay, I was going to say, anyways. So, and that's my observations on all that. And I think the world is starting to kind of come around to that. And they're going to pretty soon here anyway, because like, so if this project works, there's going to be basically an army of volunteers that are going to help tech-adverse people to set up multi-factor authentication on their bank accounts and their emails. Really any sensitive accounts, but the main ones from a security perspective are email and bank. Like, if you can control your money, you can protect your money control, and if you can protect your communications control. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to get spam emails. Oh God, what is this? Okay. Sorry, I'm a little sensitive right now because of all the drama that we've been having. But like I was saying this morning, I think I fixed it. It's going to take some time. We're going to need to heal some wounds. I don't play when it comes to my safety or my job. I just don't play. And that's what people have to find out sometimes. And I almost got fired. I still might get fired for it. Who knows? But I'm not going to work at a place where I won't be respected. That's just, I mean, I would just quit instead. So, and I don't think that's going to happen here. I think, honestly, everything's going to work out. They've been trying to cater to my needs so bad, and I appreciate that, and I've noticed it. But they were also catering to the person that was messing up. And it's like, come on, like, you gotta be an adult with them. And I even took it a step further. I volunteered a peace offering to apologize for my escalation. And I didn't do anything like hit him or anything, but like, I did some pretty messed up verbal stuff, and not even foul language. There are ways to manipulate words and communication to where it's worse than a sword. It's a mental sword. But just like anything, trauma can be healed and should be healed. So And I hope I didn't incur trauma, but let's be real. Like, I thought I was going to get fired. I thought I was being harassed. All these things. Like, in fact, let's not even go into it because it's really a private matter. But this communal, though, part of it is make it right. And that's what the whole point of make it right is you can talk to people that you might owe a few $1,000s of a drug debt. You might have killed their cousin, like whatever. It's a bad situation and it's a problem that needs to be solved. So how do you do it? And I'm not joking about that. I know this one lady who lost her brother to gang violence down in Denver. Like, it's here, you know, whether you like it or not. Now, I've been lucky, and a lot of hard work has kept me safe. Like, I show everybody respect. I don't care what clique you're from, what group you're from, if you're gay, straight, black, Asian, whatever. Like, I really don't care. I'm Irish, but I'm a white boy, you know, not affiliated. Well, okay, I mean, one thing maybe, but it's a BV thing, so, and I'm affiliated with a few BV things, like actual, like, official things, so it's okay. Unofficial, even our hoodlum stuff was very benign because we had cops and corrections officers everywhere. Like, our family were cops. We had to live with law and order in our house, in our car, in our life, in our bedrooms, everywhere. And not bedroom like any sexual thing. I'm just talking like my house and my bedroom got searched constantly. Like, and I was having cannabis all over the place. But I never got caught all that much because I had to be careful. Not just careful like, you know, amateur careful. Careful like calculated careful. And the penalty, well, we woke up every day and we saw a prison on the skyline. Like, that was our future if we messed up. So, and they would just point to the prison and be like, you want to end up over there? You keep it up, you're going to be right over there. And it's like, oh God. But even then, we talked to the inmates and we were just like, okay, I mean, this is just like waiting for a bus for several years. It's boring, yeah, but like, I mean, at least they're not like stabbed. I mean, you could get stabbed, don't get me wrong. I mean, but even that, like, prisons are pretty safe anymore. Like, they've gotten a handle on things. And they do a lot of conflict resolution, rehab. I've been to a rehab, and that was really good. It was a 90-day inpatient rehab, and I think that would be a very important component to communal. Like, it would still use existing structures of corrections and rehabilitation. And I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with any of the other stuff. Like, there's halfway houses, there's rehabs. Like, we're basically emptying out prisons and jails into halfway houses in an attempt to try to return people to the community. And this is nothing new. Like, I started to talk about the boot camp at DOCBV in this morning's episode, I think. But the whole idea of the boot camp was a military-style training that offenders and inmates, because yeah, if you're there, you offended some way. Now, that doesn't mean you're an offender for life. It just means you offended and you paid the price. If you pay the price and you're considered corrected, then it's my opinion that people need to back off and leave you alone. Restore your gun rights, first of all. I mean, unless your crime involved a gun, like if you showed that you couldn't be responsible with a firearm, then you should lose your gun rights. But that's why I believe in red flag laws. Like, if someone is like, you know, because everybody has to register their firearm. I believe that needs to be a thing. Ah! Right in the head. Dang. Okay. So anyways, that's the whole point of corrections. It's in the name, Department of Corrections. If you correct the behavior, then it's corrected. End of story. Like, you break this law, you pay this punishment, and that should be it. But instead, what happens is there's a lingering effect of hardship on anybody with a criminal record. Doesn't matter what you did. Is there like a secret hole there? Where'd this guy go? Anyways. And this idea of communal has corrections wrapped up into it. Like I said, we would use existing rehabs, existing halfway houses. Cannabis is the key, and especially psychedelics. Psychedelics, specifically magic mushrooms. I've heard ibogaine has some really promising stuff, but let's be honest, mushrooms are just fun. And again, don't do anything until you're an adult and make sure it's legal in your state. Or go to Colorado, it's legal here. Or come to Colorado, I'm in Colorado now. It's funny because I could be anywhere in the world at any given time, but most of the time I'm just right down the street watching my own house in case somebody's coming by. That's why I even posted my own house on TikTok. Like, people know where I live, but do you really want to take that chance? Like, because again, like I said, like the feds are probably watching, loosely, but it's so easy to watch things with technology now. You just literally check a seam or a control console, like, what's Alex up to today? Oh, okay, he's doing this. You know, they probably have a list of all my YouTube, Twitch, every piece of content I've ever made, the more questionable stuff. YouTube actually already does a pre-scan for foul language or like, you know, suggestive content stuff. And what's really cool is like people even have this this thing that scans.
Objective Charlie.
Oh, sorry, I was watching him, and last time I was watching for that side. Anyways. But yeah, child abuse material is now scanned with robots, so they don't actually have to look through all that. Like, gone are the days where people had to use their human eyeballs to see that trash, to see whether or not someone needs to be punished. And they do. People doing that stuff, there is no excuse. You leave those kids alone. Like, you go find a lady of the evening, you go find something, go find a gay dude, because a mouth is a mouth at that point. If you don't, and if you try to harm a kid, you're gonna learn out real quick. You're gonna learn real quick that nobody cares about you, and at least while you're doing that. Now, the flip side of that is we gotta make it to where we can forgive and actually correct even that behavior, and even that behavior. You know how much my blood is boiling right now thinking about that kind of an offense? Because it's women and children. Those are the protected demographics that, especially military. Like, military, you're trained. And again, I only did like 3 weeks, but still, I was training leading up to that. I was training for 7 years on a football team, like, and not just any football team. Buena Vista football is very structured, very disciplined, because it's a bunch of cops and prison workers, like correctional staff. Like, that's your coaches. Your coach has probably killed people. Like, don't mess with them, because a lot of corrections and law enforcement, they do military too. In fact, it was pretty common at the prison to hear about somebody like going and deploying, and then they would come back and then watch the inmates. So they could have just went and killed like 20 people on the other side of the world, and now they're coming back to watch an inmate. So yeah, it's some interesting scenarios. But that also needs to change too. We need to stop sending our military everywhere. And I think, oh, sorry, let's get back to the president, because like that's what everybody wants to hear about. So my best friend is a huge Trump supporter. I'll say that again. My best friend is a huge Trump supporter. Not as iffy about it. He loves the guy. So what am I going to do? I'm going to be nice to the guy. Now, I was a royal jerk, don't get me wrong, several times. I've said some very mean things to the president, and I need to apologize for some of them. Not all of them, though. And that's where vamos a hacer un negocio. I learned that from Breaking Bad. Let's make a deal. From old Danny Trejo, one of my favorite actors. Old gangbanger turned straight. Like, not like there's anything bad with gangbanging as long as you're not out there doing stupid things. Like, because again, that's another community that has its own control structure. And, you know, people like to joke and talk about giving the green light and all this. That is a very last resort solution. And I know, because I've talked to some of the OGs. I've talked to people that make those decisions. They don't do it lightly, and they don't do it often. In fact, it's a pretty rare thing anymore because it's so easy to get caught. It's just a dumb solution. Anyways, back to the president. So, and in fact, I was just criticizing somebody that made a threat against a politician. It's like, come on, you can be mad, but once you start crossing into safety and danger, that's when people are going to come talk to you. And that's when, yeah, it's very dangerous. Especially to a government, like who's dumb enough to do that? Like, I mean, seriously, I'm sorry, but back to the president. So the president, he is the boss. He won, and we got to trust our elections. Now, actually, I'm just kidding. That's a total lie. Let's not trust our elections at all, and let's do online voting. And that's part of communal, is where we're not going to do away with senators and representatives just yet, but we're going to get to a point where that position isn't needed. We've got AI to analyze all of our laws, and in a millisecond, or well, maybe a few milliseconds, maybe 20, and right here, and here, and here. Each one of those heres was several hundred or several thousand milliseconds, maybe like 1,000 or 2,000 milliseconds. So when you think about it, in about 20 of those milliseconds, you could have the answer to every legal qualm with all of the information plugged in, and it'll find the most fair result for your punishment, if a punishment at all. I honestly think President Trump, he's been punished. South Park ripped him a new one twice, like easily. And I think he's paid enough. I mean, that's awkward to have the entire country just looking at that And you got some of the people, like my buddy, probably might have said something in the chat room being like, hey, that's kind of not cool. And I've been seeing people say, hey, I don't like this season of South Park because they like the president. And it insults someone that's important to them. Now, I guess we should say that too. The president is not important at all. It's just another person that happens to be doing a job and will leave in 4 years. That's it. There's going to be another person that comes in. So what we need to do is we don't focus on the person. We have to focus on the position. We have to focus on our government. We need another Continental Congress. But we can't break the existing structure without having another structure. So I like to say we can't yank the rug until we install carpet underneath. And that's the same with healthcare. And I honestly believe that the president has a plan for healthcare. Now, what that plan is, I don't know. But I'll tell you what doesn't help is all these people saying like, hey, we got to get that plan. We got to do that. And then like, calling him a clown or worse or all these other bad names and just making him feel like garbage. Like that's not good. Honey and vinegar. Like you attract more flies with honey. Not that you're trying to attract flies, but you get better results and better problem solving with honey and not vinegar. Vinegar is like it's not a last resort, but it's a lesser resort. Like the important thing about any kind of problem solving is you have to go from the least damaging and then work your way up very slowly to more escalated and more intense solutions. I mean, it's a whole range. And I think for this particular one, healing the divide, and I'll put the medal on Trump's neck myself. I'll give him the Nobel if we do this plan. That's what you heard it here first. No, you probably won't hear this until like 2 years later, but yeah, you heard it here first. I will hang the dang medal on his neck and say congratulations if a couple things happen. And I think really the American Academy, once that gets launched, or even an equivalent, it doesn't have to be that, but like we need to alleviate a lot of stress from Americans because they're just paying way too much for education. But you can't just like make it free or cheap because we've got all these jobs that depend on that, that money coming in. So what do we got to do? We got to make everything non-profit. We should not be profiting off of health or life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which are the unalienable rights. So law, healthcare, and education. Because education is how you pursue happiness. How do you get the good job that pays the good money and gets you a good wife or husband, or even a few? You got to get that money and you got to get that education. Well, if you can't get the education, or even if you just feel like you can't get the education, then you won't. Like whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And as much as I hate that saying, it is true. Like, I mean, your mind is going to ultimately decide what happens. I mean, if you hesitate too much, if you're, too gun shy, I just got a triple kill off of that. Nice. Oh man, what is going on? We're losing pretty bad. Anyways, back to Trump. So President Trump. I mean, because I do want to show him respect. Like I said, I really don't like the BBB because of healthcare, but if it's really a bloated system that could be done more efficiently and not cost so much money, then that's actually part of the solution now, isn't it? Because part of the problem with healthcare is it's so dang expensive that people like Walter White will make a meth empire rather than pay the doctor bills because you literally just can't. You might as well just die at that point, which is a terrible place for somebody to find themselves in. And nobody wants that. As much as people might think that the other political party wants that, nobody does. It might be greedy, it might be this and that, but that's really not fair to just tell a Republican, be like, oh, you're nothing but a greedy person that wants people to die. Because they're not. They just want people to work and pay their fair share, which they are, and it's this communication that is needed. We need full transparency, I guess, is what it really needs. And not like how China has well, I mean, China doesn't have this, but there's a Black Mirror episode, and I don't know if it's China, it's just some Asian country, I think, where everybody has a number, a social score. And if you do good things, your social score goes up. If you do bad things, it goes down. Just like True Crime LA and True Crime New York City. I used to love those games because you play as a cop and you run around the city and you do some pretty messed up stuff, or you do good things. If you're a good cop, you have a good reputation. If you're a bad cop, you have a bad reputation. And so you start seeing people like running you over with their car and stuff is how crazy it gets. And it's like, whoa, that escalates. But I mean, it's understandable, and that's how communities really work, is like, if you do some bad things, you might be secret about it for a while. People might not know right away, but people talk. I mean, even the most solid people will chit-chat with their friends. Like, even the most solid. Right? So, I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. Nobody is perfect, and it sucks because sometimes those loose lips really do sink ships, and those sunk ships could be deadly to you. In fact, I do wonder about a couple with mine. I mean, I don't think, but I intend to fix it either way. You know, because you got to err on the side of caution when you're problem solving and just assume zero trust and assume that you need to plan for the worst and hope for the best. But then, as I say that, you need to do a healthy balance because you can't just assume everything needs a sledgehammer solution. In fact, please don't. That's actually what I just did, was a sledgehammer solution. But it was a sledgehammer problem. It had gotten to the point where it's at. Now, each of the little problems, the microaggressions, each one of those little things was a tack hammer solution. Like, I could have just hammered the nail in, and not the person, mind you, the behavior. Because I'm not trying to be mad at the person. Like, I actually think pretty highly of the person. It's the behaviors and the situation. So, because otherwise, I mean, then you can never really work with somebody. If you're personalizing the problem, then you're going to have a problem with that person. I mean, it sounds so simple when you say it like that, but like, you know, it takes people years to realize this and be like, you know, reconnect with family or friends that they burned way back in the day, and they'll always say something the same, like, you know, I didn't realize, or, you know, this or that. And it's like, and I've done this too. I'm mocking myself, by the way, when I say that. You know, I realized too little too late about one of my favorite people in the entire world. I love this woman, still do, but it's creepy, and so I got to leave her alone. Or no, it's not creepy now. I've behaved, but like, I was mad when we first broke up. And all she wanted to do was step out with a big old black dude. I'm like, at the time, I was ready to do very bad things to this guy. But later, I mean, I never would have because I wouldn't have had the heart to do anything. But I was mad enough to, and it didn't help that she even told me. She's like, yeah, the headboard was banging against the wall, so we found a pair of your underwear and stuffed it behind the headboard. I was like, you, what? Like, and of course, I still loved her while she's saying this and everything, so I didn't really say anything, like, mean to her face there. In fact, I bought a digital scale off of her from Dude. So the money went to her, to him, and we had cats together, and I didn't pay any child support for that. So she struggled with all that. She had to go through all that. Her family probably had to step up and probably didn't think very highly of me. Like, you know, her brother used to look up to me, and then after that, he was probably like, what a jerk. Like, you know, and I don't blame him. I mean, I walked out. I didn't walk out. I ran out. I was just done at that point. Because I was like, how do I compete with a big black dude? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm doing all I can just to lift weights and get my body to look somewhat not flabby and terrible. And then you got a guy carrying a sledgehammer for a tack hammer solution. I hope I do get to talk to Homeboy again, because I do want to apologize. Because I honestly think if we just knew about ethical non-monogamy, we could have been good friends. Like, she would have been like, oh, I'm going over to Homeboy's house. I'd be like, all right, cool, be safe. And like, and that's it. And I'm not even saying be safe with him. I'm saying be safe from point A to point B. Have a wild time. Come back and we'll chit chat about other things and be a couple and all that. So that's on the list. I mean, we're talking about Saturday. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a long one because anybody that's gonna watch this one has to dig through. I mean, that's what I've also noticed is like if you just upload a little 5-minute video, tons of people will watch it because it's easy. But people that watch an ADHD rant for an hour, now that's dedication. No matter how entertaining I might make it be with all of this great gameplay and, you know, funny jokes and all this, like, people might not have the attention span for that. That's why I labeled the last one Smuff, so I can find it because I know what to look for, and the government can find it because they know what to look for. But the average person, they're going to see this massive amount of 2,000 videos. Although that said, I do need to go back and scrub a couple. Because I did say a little too much, I feel like, and I don't like that. Because, I mean, I should get fired if I say too much, and that's understandable. I mean, talk to first, but that creates work for other people, then they got to go through those thousands of and nobody's got time for that, and I guess YouTube would probably just do it for them? I don't know. I mean, AI can analyze an entire speech, like transcripts are printed from these videos, and the AI can tell what you were actually trying to say. Also, I just realized something. I don't need to have everything plugged in. Hold on, I'm gonna fix that. So I have a PS3. Yeah, maybe that'll be a project. I gotta stay focused. So, oh my gosh. Sorry. Oh, whoops. Nope. That's gotta be... Okay.
Team deathmatch. Eliminate the enemy.
Alright, anyways, so, the point of tomorrow, I need to organize some stuff. I've got a concert tonight. I got orchestra, too. Oh, I love it. Because it brings peace to a troubled mind. I've been going to orchestra concerts my whole life. And they are fun. They weren't fun when I was a little kid. They were boring as all get out. No, I'm just kidding. They were still fun. It was just like, I had a regular Nintendo back home. I could play some Mario. But instead I was there listening to music, which is still good music. Wait, what? There we go. Okay. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the plan is all there. It's just a little rough. It needs to be refined. And honestly, the people that I'm going to be talking to tomorrow, if anyone at all, it might just be my boy. I've got one friend that's going to come at some point. It might just be me, and that's fine. There's only enough room for 5 people in the meeting. And it's using that new mansion. What is it? I forget the name, but you dance around as a llama. That's your avatar. Not dancing. Sorry, I'm not trying to be like belittle it or anything, but like you jump around, like you hop. It's so cool. Like you're just a llama, just chilling in this virtual mansion, and like all these other people. Like there was like 5,000 people that were in the thing, and all of these big names were like talking and all this, and I'm like, whoa, what is even going on here? So. And that's why, like, I don't really expect anything to be happening right away. Like, I mean, it can. Like, I mean, literally the president could show up in that meeting, and I'd still be like, oh, hi, sorry about some things I said. My friend loves your work. I'm not a fan on a few things, but I honestly think we could have a Mom Donnie moment, or whatever his name is, when he's like, it's okay, you can call me a fascist. And it's like, wait, what? And that's true because, like, in Trump's mind and his perspective, he's not being a fascist. He's taking care of some problems. And even the Democrats are saying that, you know, immigration got out of control. Like, we need to rein it back in. We need to, like, use the door. But I think we need to take it even a step further. And we need to help stabilize Central and South America with resources, money, work, volunteering, service, stewardship, tech devices. Because, again, health, law, and education are the big barriers, and when people feel like they don't have access to this stuff, they're going to get mad, you know. And I'm talking about like cartels and stuff and everything. If they feel like their family are going to go to prison for like 20 years, they might kill somebody. Like, they'll be pushed to problem solve in ways that are much bigger problems in themselves. And then an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. That's a good thing to keep in mind. If you just go around and kill everybody that kills someone you don't like, then everybody would just die. Like, I mean, I've had people kill my friends. Like, no, you don't see me out there doing anything about it that way. I'm doing things about it, but just not in a way that would get me in prison, if that makes sense. Or at least not for a long time. Maybe a year or two, but yeah. Blowback. Acceptable losses. My kids would understand. They'd come visit me. In fact, the Saudis came and visited me in jail too. They came, they were like, how much? How much to get you out? And not that they had a lot of money, but they would find it. They would solve that problem and get me out of jail because I was that important to them as a friend. And I was sitting there in my orange jumpsuit like, well, this one I gotta stay here for a little bit, so I'll see you when I get out. Like, because it was a rehab hold. And that's fine. I just said that to the world, and I don't care. I mean, I have a checkered past. The government knows my entire history. The people that I'm going to be working with definitely know my entire history. They're going to do background checks probably since the day I was born. I just have to assume that anybody with millions and billions of dollars is going to spend maybe a couple grand to go talk to the people I know growing up, ask about me. It's not that expensive. It's a drop in the bucket, like pennies to them. Of course they're going to do it. And again, the government knows a lot about me anyway. I was working for the government briefly for like 3 weeks. And I have a lot of friends that still do. So then that's like the key thing is like, same with the president. Like, I have people that mean a lot to me that think highly of the president. So therefore, by association, I have to give him some grace. And that's hard to say for some of the people I know because they are so mad at Trump. They're so mad. But if you actually listen to Trump speak, he's not some like completely crazy person. He's just solving problems the way that he wants to, with making his people come out on top. Now,
Falling behind. Get moving.
oh, I think that's like a distraction to make it look like somebody, like a decoy. Oh, there's my 5-minute mark. So anyways, this is going to be a really long one, and I got to get back to work anyway. That is an hour. That's my lunch hour. But again, we can do work anytime during the day as long as we're responding, which I'm keeping an eye on my communications. Even during my lunch, I do that in case there's an emergency. But I also get to do stuff like this. But again, responsibly. I'm not abusing any of this. Wow, okay, I'm not playing that great, but I mean, I'm not abusing my workplace's trust. The work will get done. I apologize for being a little extra. I didn't promise anything, but I did say, if I can get this to work, I think we should do this. And it's something that this person would really like. I know that they would really like it, and I think they would forgive me after a while. But again, I got to forgive them too. This isn't a one-way street. There is damage on both sides, so, you know, I don't like that it got to that point, but yeah. Anyways, back to the president, because now we got like 4 minutes. So what I got to do now is I got to draw a new graffiti decal, or a graphic, a new tag on a piece of paper. I'm going to scan it or take a picture of it, use that for the promo of the thing. It's still going to be graffiti, but it's going to be a little less intimidating than the original graphic, because I got to assume that, hey, maybe even the president might see this one day. And probably not the first meeting, but the first meeting most likely will just be my buddy and I just sitting there in a room, because I didn't announce it anywhere. Like, only certain people even know about it, and even less people would even have a link or be able to join it. But then the following meetings, I imagine it's going to get pretty big pretty quick, and I might not even be involved too much like I hope to. But I even told one of my colleagues, I was like, if I'm ever blocked, I know this guy, and I named someone else that's very, very big in the community, that would lead in my stead, and we've talked about it. I told him my ideas, and he wants to be a preacher, and he's a retired NFL player, and we didn't talk specifically about communal, but he knows what I'm on about, and he knows that my heart's good and my head's in the right place, even if I seem a little weird. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit of a joker. You can't trump a Trump, but you can joke with a joker. There it is. Oh, that was my catchphrase when I was losing it back during the pandemic. Because I originally did send messages. I assumed that Trump or his people saw it his first term and said, wow. Well, first they probably said, wow, this dude's freaking insane. But then after they look at it a little bit, like, well, maybe insanely smart and actually has some good points. So let's hear him out. And then after that, I'm sure my stuff was bugged for a while. Like, and again, you don't even really need to like bug anything anymore. You just got to intercept the network communications. And I intentionally don't use a VPN so they can look if they want to. And that goes for scammers too, because like I do also monitor my network, so I see when other people are on it, and then, you know, and they still have to have my Wi-Fi password, but then when it leaves my house, it is encrypted with my router to whatever, and then that encryption can be broken if you have the key. And guess who the government works with? Google and all that. So then they have the key to the encryption. Like, people, sometimes I think people are just dumb, but I realize that they didn't spend years studying computer science like people like me have. So it's not as obvious to some people. It's kind of funny, because then it's like, you know, you get to be like the magician, like, woo, look what I could do. And then you're like, nah, it's really simple. It's this, this, and this. And then they're like, oh, okay. Because you don't want them thinking you're some kind of god or musician or some Kim Jong-un. We got to fix that too, because I heard rumors, and they're probably just rumors, like people thinking that he doesn't go to the bathroom, that he talks to dolphins, and maybe he didn't even start him, but people are so worried about impressing this guy that I bet people started rumors to try to suck up to the guy, when over here in America we just got the what is that, The Interview? Is that the movie? Seth Rogen too. I hope I can kick it with him sometime. Him and Jimmy Franco. The Pineapple Express guys, those guys are hilarious. But, and honestly, even just do like a video call and just be, hey, what's up? Yeah, and then this, and then just talk and just nerd out and ADHD or whatever. And like, yeah, but I have a few mentors and people close to me that are going to be the initial of anything that happens, just because I trust them the most. And I don't care who people are. You can have $1 billion. I don't know you. I don't trust you. Like, what are you out for? Like, what are you in it for? You know, so granted, that's just kind of an exaggeration. If they have $1 billion, then they obviously did something right, but that doesn't give them a free pass for life. And I feel like the president, unfortunately, is finding that out. But again, I think South Park's ripped on him enough to where he's already been punished for a lot of it. Anyways, I got to go. 15 seconds. Ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Maybe we'll make this an NFT and donate the money to build immigration housing. I don't know. But anyways, ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.